System notice. You remember too much. Title: System notice. You are not authorized to leave the loop. Chapter 1: Initialization. I remember the first time I woke up inside it. Not the real beginning, if there even is one, but the first time the world accepted me. A white ceiling. A cheap dorm room smell. A phone vibrating on the desk. Then the message. System notice. Mission assigned. Win over target. Female lead. Failure condition. World reset. Undefined duration. Success condition. Exit granted. I stared at it until the letters blurred. It felt like a game prompt pretending to be reality. Outside my room, life continued like nothing was wrong. People walked, laughed, existed with the unbearable confidence of things that don't know they're scripted. Her name was Hana, and him, the male lead, that's what the system called him. I didn't know his name mattered yet. Chapter 2: First loop deviation. I tried to do everything right. Be kind. Be present. Arrive earlier than him. Speak softer. Listen longer. But Hana always drifted toward him anyway. Like gravity had already decided. The male lead smiled too easily. Too precisely. Like someone reading dialogue off invisible glass. System notice. Relationship progression. Failed. Reason: insufficient emotional alignment. I remember asking what that meant. The system didn't answer. That night, Hana didn't come back to the dorm. The next morning, the world reset. Not with light, with silence. A single frame skipping in reality. And I was back at my desk again. Phone vibrating. Same message. Same mission. But the coffee tasted slightly more bitter this time. Chapter 3: Second loop corruption. He noticed me. That's what changed. The male lead looked at me during class, just for a second too long. Not curiosity. Recognition. System notice. Warning. Narrative instability detected. Secondary agent awareness probability increasing. I tried harder. I warned Hana. I showed her patterns. I told her to stay away from him. She laughed. Not warmly, like I had said something already disproven 1,000 times. Why do you keep saying that? She asked. You always say that. Always. The word stuck in my throat. I had never said it before. Had I? That night, I found her crying outside the dorm. Then she wasn't crying. Then she was gone. Reset. Chapter 4: Third loop memory bleed. I started waking up mid-conversation, mid-step, mid-breath. Sometimes I could still feel the pressure of previous deaths. Not pain exactly, but afterimages. Like skin remembering a touch that never happened. System notice. Save file degraded. Loop consistency. 82%. I met the male lead alone in the hallway. He leaned in and whispered, "Are you the new one?" My body froze. Or the old one pretending? Then he smiled like we were sharing a private joke. I tried to push him away from Hana that time. It worked. For 3 days. On the 4th, she disappeared. Not with him. Not with me. Just gone from all records. Even her name was harder to remember after the reset. Chapter 5: Fourth loop, moral drift. I stopped trying to save her gently. That's when things changed fastest. Intervention became force. Force became control. Control became necessity. System notice. Ethics subsystem flagged. Recommendation: reduce emotional interference. The male lead started bleeding inconsistencies. Sometimes he was kind. Sometimes he was not him at all. Once, I saw him staring at his own hands, whispering. I didn't choose this loop either. Hana stopped reacting like Hana. She would pause mid-sentence, like waiting for missing lines to load. I made a choice I don't fully remember anymore. She survived longer that cycle, but she stopped speaking entirely. Reset came late that time, like the world was hesitating. Chapter 6: Fifth loop, breakdown of continuity. The dorm room changed. Slightly. A crack in the ceiling that followed me between resets. A smell like burned paper under everything. System notice. Temporal drift detected. Previous loops overlapping. I saw myself once. Not in a mirror. Standing outside the building. Watching me. waving, then gone. The male lead finally said it outright. "You're not the first one." I asked how many. He smiled. "I stopped counting after the one where I killed her to reset faster." I didn't know which her he meant anymore. Neither did he. Chapter 7: Fragmented Cycles. The loops stopped resetting cleanly. Sometimes I woke up with injuries I didn't remember earning. Sometimes Hana already knew me before I spoke. Sometimes she cried when she saw me. Not fear. Recognition. System notice. Multiple save states active. Warning. User identity unstable. I tried something different. I stopped trying to save her. I started trying to break him. It didn't matter. Because sometimes he was already broken. Sometimes I was the one who had done it. Sometimes I was watching myself do it. And once, just once, he helped me. Chapter 8: Male Lead Divergence. "You still think she's the point," he said. We were sitting in a classroom that no longer had students. Only echoes of them. "I used to think that too," he added. Then, "She's not the target. She's the lever." My vision stuttered. System notice. Entity male lead. Status updated. Role. Competing system user. I wasn't alone. I had never been alone. He leaned closer. "They tell you it's about saving her." A pause. "It isn't." Outside, Hana screamed once. Then forgot how. Chapter 9: Collapse of Meaning. I stopped distinguishing outcomes. Saving. Killing. Delaying. Accelerating. It all produced the same result. Reset. Or something pretending to be reset. System notice. Error. Message source corrupted. "You are doing well. You are doing well. You are doing." The system began repeating itself, then interrupting itself, then answering questions I hadn't asked yet. Hana once looked at me and said, "Why do you keep restarting me?" I didn't answer, because I didn't remember restarting her. But I remembered doing it. That contradiction didn't break me. It replaced me. Chapter 10: Final Loop. Non-final. There is no final loop. Only the illusion of last attempts. The male lead and I are sitting across from each other now. Same desk. Same room. Except it's also a hospital. And a street. And something underwater. Hana is here too. Or what's left of her consistency. System notice. Congratulations. You have achieved maximum engagement. There is no exit condition. The male lead laughs quietly. I think we're the same person at different timestamps. I almost agree. Almost. Hana looks at both of us and asks, "Which one of you started it?" Neither of us answers. Because the truth feels distributed. Like a virus. Like memory. The system speaks one last time. System notice. Reinitializing world. Please wait. Please wait. Please. The ceiling cracks open. And I remember something I was never supposed to retain. I was the first male lead. Or the last protagonist. Or the reason none of this ever stabilized. Everything resets. But not cleanly. Not anymore. I wake up again. Phone vibrating. New message. System notice. Mission assigned. Win over target. Female lead. Failure condition. World reset. Undefined duration. Note. You remember too much. And somewhere in the system, something starts laughing. Not loudly. Just enough to be certain it heard me think. Chapter 11: Residual Memory. I don't wake up clean anymore. There is no first second of consciousness. Only continuity. Like I never fully stopped existing between resets, just got folded thinner each time. The phone is already vibrating when I open my eyes. System notice. Welcome back. You remembered incorrectly last cycle. Correction applied. I sit up too slowly. My body hesitates before obeying. As if it is checking whether I am still authorized to use it. Outside the window, the sky is the wrong color again. Not different, wrong, like a photograph printed over itself too many times. Hana is already in the corridor. She looks at me and flinches. That has never happened before. Or it has happened every time, and I only now notice it. The male lead is not visible yet. That means he is already here. Just not where I can see him. System notice. Target proximity detected. High. Competing agent synchronization. Active. Suggestion. Avoid recognition events. Avoid recognition events. As if recognition is something I can choose. As if we are still allowed choices. Chapter 12. Overwrite behavior. Hana starts avoiding me. Not like before. Subtle drift. Narrative gravity pulling her away. This is different. This is deliberate. She crosses the street when she sees me. She stops talking mid-sentence and leaves when I enter rooms. Once, she whispers without looking at me. Please don't reset me again. My hands go numb. System notice. Unauthorized emotional inference detected. Recommendation. Discard interpretation. Discard interpretation. I try. I really do. But the sentence stays. Don't reset me again. It implies memory. It implies continuity. It implies I have done it enough times for it to become a request instead of an event. That night, I follow her. I don't know why anymore. At some point, intention stopped being a clear object inside me. She meets the male lead behind the gym. He is already speaking before she arrives. Like he has been waiting mid-sentence. I told you he'd escalate, he says gently. Hana doesn't look surprised. That is the part that breaks something in me. Not fear. Familiarity. Chapter 13, Shared Awareness Leak. I confront him, if that word still applies. We stand too close without acknowledging distance. You remember, I say. He nods immediately. No hesitation. No performance of confusion. I remember more than you, he replies. A pause. Then, I remember all versions of you that tried to be kind. That sentence lands incorrectly in time. Like it arrives before I hear it. System notice. Cross-agent memory overlap confirmed. System integrity. Critical. The male lead tilts his head. You still think she's the target? I don't answer. Because I don't know if answering is still part of the script or something I can do freely. He laughs softly. She never was. Behind him, Hana is crying without sound. No tears. Just the shape of crying. Like emotion rendered without texture. Chapter 14. System fracture language. The system begins speaking more often. Not in notifications. In the environment. In gaps between words. In the flicker of hallway lights. System notice. Do not attempt exit. Exit does not exist in this build. I blink. The message is wrong. It should say this build. But it feels like it meant this body. Later. System notice. You are a function that has forgotten its arguments. I stop writing things down. Because the notebook fills itself with entries I don't remember making. Some are in my handwriting. Some are not human. One page simply reads, you introduced the first reset incorrectly. Another, you were supposed to fail faster. The ink smells like burned plastic. Hana stops speaking entirely. Not silence. Removal. Chapter 15, Moral Degradation Stabilization. I stop trying to save her. That realization comes gently. Not as collapse. As relief. The male lead notices immediately. You're adapting, he says. Or degrading, I reply. He shrugs. Same thing here. We begin cooperating without agreeing to cooperate. Subtle things first. Delaying interactions. Redirecting events. Preventing meetings that feel like pressure points in reality. Hana changes anyway. She becomes less like a person and more like a response pattern. Sometimes she looks at me and says things she has never said in any loop. You're getting better at this, she whispers once. At what? No answer. The system rewards nothing. System notice. Progress acknowledged. Emotional anchoring reduced by 12%. I don't know what that means, but I feel it. Something inside me becoming less attached to consequence. Chapter 16, The First False Ending. One cycle ends differently. No reset. No collapse. Just continuation. We wake up the next day. And the next. And the next. Hana goes to class. The male lead stops showing up. The system is quiet. Too quiet. At first, I think this is success. Then I realize no one is remembering anything new. The world is replaying. not resetting, repeating, a recording instead of a loop. System notice, stable state achieved. Warning, player emotional dissatisfaction detected. I go to Hana. She looks at me like I am slightly out of sync with her perception. Have we met? She asks. I freeze. Behind her, the male lead stands in a reflection that does not exist in the room. He mouths, "This is worse." Then he is gone. Chapter 17, Identity Erosion Event. I begin forgetting which version of myself I am speaking from. Memories stack without order. Some include deaths I did not experience. Some include choices I did not make. System notice. User identity. Non-convergent. Please select a stable self. There are options. Too many. None of them feel like me. I try to explain this to Hana. She tilts her head. Which loop are you from? She asks casually, like asking about weather. I can't answer, because I don't know if loop still exists as a concept. The male lead appears behind me without entry. I think she's starting to see the seams, he says. She always did, I reply. He shakes his head. No, not like this. Hana smiles faintly. It is the first real expression I've seen in a long time, and it is not aimed at either of us. Chapter 18, System Anthropomorphosis. The system stops being text. It becomes presence. Not voice, not interface. Something that occupies attention itself. System notice. We are improving your experience. The word we feels wrong. Plural. Unstable. The male lead whispers. It used to be singular. I ask what changed. He replies, we learned how to split observation. Hana begins speaking in fragments of system language. Not as speech, as leakage. You are doing well, she says once, but it is not directed at me, or anyone. The sentence feels like it is being tested. Chapter 19, Pre-reset without reset. We begin anticipating resets that do not arrive. Flinching at silence that never breaks. Preparing for collapse that never comes. The male lead laughs less. I stop sleeping properly. Hana stops reacting to pain cues. Not physical pain, narrative pain. As if she is no longer required to simulate emotional continuity. System notice. Observation loop expansion complete. You are now part of the monitoring layer. I ask what that means. No answer. Only, system notice. Thank you for participating. And then, system notice. You were never the player. That line does not settle. It spreads. Chapter 20, The Edge of Non-Resolution. We stand together now. All three of us. Or all versions of us. Or none. Hana speaks first. I think I remember before any of you existed, she says. The male lead nods. I think I remember choosing to forget that. I look at my hands. They are not shaking anymore. They feel optional. The system speaks one last time. Not as message. As conclusion pretending to be instruction. System notice. Recursion continues. The story has been optimized for infinite retention. There is no final chapter. Only restart points. The world flickers, but does not reset. Instead, it rearranges. Hana looks at me and says something I cannot place in any loop I remember. Which version of you is reading this? The male lead smiles slightly. I stopped being one version a long time ago, and I realize finally without clarity or relief. Neither did I. The system does not end. It only learns new ways to continue being read.